Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is Marcus, and welcome to more chatting in my jungle room. Hey, look, I'm thoroughly excited because I've never been there physically, but today I get to go there via Zoom. I'm going to Hawaii today, where I'm speaking to the artistic director of State Opera of South Australia, Mr. Dane Lam. Dane, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you, Marcus, and it's great to be with you.
I'm a little bit cranky, let's be honest, because we're in winter at the minute, and I'm pretty sure over in Hawaii it is not winter.
Definitely not winter. It's coming into summer,
I
but
should have been,
even in the winter, it doesn't really drop below 20 degrees, so it's pretty temperate year round here.
I should have come over there and done the interview with you face to face under a palm tree or something.
Or maybe we can do a follow up on Waikiki.
Next one. Yep.
Yeah.
Part two. Hey, excitedly, the reason why we're chatting today is because the State Opera of South Australia has revealed the rest of the 2025 season. You know, I'm a massive state opera lover. I go and see everything you guys do and have done for the good last 5, 6 years. I thoroughly am one of your biggest fans. Um, the two that have been revealed for the rest of the 2025 season are, of course, this one's exciting, Mozart's The Magic Flute and Romeo and Juliet. Exciting. I mean, they're two major pieces. How excited are you, first of all?
I'm really excited because this is really the first season 2025, that I've programmed as artistic director because there's such a long lead time. I mean, I was appointed to the role late in 2023, and now it's season 25, and that's how long it's taken to actually program a season. With other opera houses, it might have even taken longer than that, but I was very lucky to come in, and season 25 was a blank slate. And so it gave the opportunity to dream up what could an opera company be to its community in the 21st century. And it allowed us to seek out some really interesting, some really innovative collaborations. The Magic Flute, for example, is a co-production between State Opera, Opera Hong Kong, and the Beijing Music Festival, the China National Opera House as well. And it's the very first collaboration, the very first co-production between an Australian opera company and Chinese opera companies. And it's really interesting that that's actually never happened before, because certainly I grew up as half Chinese, half Australian, like Chinese Australian, and I grew up with a lot of people who shared similar heritage, and we are, of course, geographically right in the midst of Asia. And so it just makes sense to reflect what modern Australia is in this production. So we developed it in Hong Kong in April and May, and it premiered in Hong Kong in very early May. I was there conducting it, and Shuang Zhou, who is the artistic director of the Beijing Music Festival, fantastic Chinese director, she was directing it. And it's a really interesting and I think perceptive take on this wild story of the magic flute. So it's always set in some kind of far off fairyland. But in this one, Tamino, the protagonist of the story, actually descends into the subway, the MTR in
Yeah,
Hong Kong, into this parallel universe.
I
So
love.
suddenly the ordinary becomes the extraordinary, the sacred becomes profane, and we're in this world where somebody that, the bagman on the street is suddenly the speaker of the temple. Zoroastro is suddenly like a kind of a Bondi guru. Um, the three ladies who saved Tamino from the serpent actually are flight attendants. So it really sort of puts everything on its head. It's a mashup of Mozart and of Blade Runner and of The Matrix all in one.
And being the artistic director of, the State Opera, what is it about opera that, has you involved? What is it that grabs you and just says, yes, let's do this?
What I love about opera is that it is, for me, it's the total art form. It is an art form that embraces so many areas of artistic endeavor. Of course, you have music, design, drama, poetry, prose, lighting, costume. The list goes on and on and on. And at its heart, is this power of the unamplified human voice. I think that's its really unique selling point, is the fact that we have these singers on stage who have trained using a technique that's been developed over hundreds and hundreds of years to throw their voice over a full orchestra into an auditorium that seats 1,000, 2,000 people without any amplification, without any microphones. And when you think about forms of entertainment and forms of the performing arts around the world, opera and symphonic music really are the only forms of large scale entertainment where the sound is directional. It's not from a speaker, it's not from a microphone. It's created by a human being, and it goes from a human being on stage directly to a human being in the audience. And I love that. I love the collaborative nature of it.
What would be your favorite opera, whether you've seen it or you want to see it? What's at the top of your list?
Hmm. I think for me, the most perfect opera, and one that I would take a newcomer, is Puccini's La Boheme.
Ah,
You know, there's this group of young people living in Paris, partying, two people falling in love, and it ending in tragedy. But along the way, there are hijinks, there is partying, and some of the most beautiful, rapturous music ever written. And the other good thing is that it's short. You know, you get out of the theater in just a bit over 2 hours, and I think brevity is something that speaks to us today. I certainly like a short night in the theater sometimes. And then if I had my druthers and I could program something and money was no option, I would program Der Rosenkavalier, The Night of the Rose by Richard Strauss, which has absolutely massive orchestra. It's a long night. It's 4.5 hours or something with intervals. But some of the most ravishing music ever written, set in Vienna at the turn of the 20th century, and this world that was changing, and it revolves around this love triangle between the Marschallin, who is a minor noble in a loveless marriage, and she's depicted as being quite old, but she was probably about 30 in those days, you know.
yeah.
And she falls in love with the page boy, Octavian, and they're having an illicit affair until this young ingenue Sophie comes in, and she's more age appropriate for Octavian. And so it's this love triangle, and there's this act of magnanimity at the end of the opera when the Marshal gives her love away. And it's very touching, it's very beautiful, and the music is just incredible.
Opera is amazing. I love it. I'm a latecomer. I am, like I said, I've been probably seeing opera for the last 6 or 7 years. I I do remember, obviously a lot of opera is sung in different languages, and I was always thank good there was the screens that actually
Yeah,
it literally takes about 5 minutes before you don't even concentrate on those scenes, those screens, and all you're doing is focusing on the beautiful language of the song. It's incredible how quickly you don't pay attention to those words at all. Well, for me anyway. I'll tell you two that I really stand out for me that I've actually seen State Opera do. One was really cute and really quirky. It was part of the Adelaide Fringe. I think it was 2 years ago now. That was held in the courthouse over here in the city, Victoria Square. I'm not sure if you were down for that one. I'm not sure, but that was
that
outstanding. That was
was
really
trial by jury, right?
Oh yeah, in a whole different
Yeah.
environment. It was so cool and so fun. The other one was my absolute favorite that I've seen so far. All are outstanding, but I think it was more so the venue. It was actually held in Victoria Square, and it was Carmen in the Square, open air in the middle of summer, and everyone was in the vibe. It was one of the most surreal, beautiful experience. I mean, thank the good Lord we had the most exceptional weather that night because it made the experience just magical, magical. Of course, everything else is held at Her Majesty's Theatre pretty much and equally amazing. But yeah, those are the two that really stand out for me.
I think it's great doing opera in the open air, in
Oh,
the outdoors. I've heard about this, Carmen. I mean, it's certainly something that the company wants to do more of.
yeah.
It's always a very resource intensive endeavor to go outside, because Adelaide, as far as I know, is the only capital city in Australia that doesn't have a purpose-built outdoor amphitheatre to do opera or concerts outside. So it requires building a stage and putting all that necessary infrastructure in place to
A lot
do
of
the
money.
performance. Yeah, a lot, a
Yeah.
lot. but it's something that's very important to us because we do want to expose as many people to this amazing art form. And you say you're a latecomer, but I have a theory because people have been saying for well, more than 100 years now that classical music is dying. You look around the audiences and the hairs are grey, and yet we still have an audience, and audiences keep coming back. And my theory is that in general, and not always, because there's people like me who are classical music tragics from when I was a teenager, but I just think that people tend to come to this art form later in life for various reasons. It's time, it's money, it's where you are in your whole, emotional, psychological, spiritual journey. And so when people talk about getting young audiences, I think it's great. I love seeing young people in the theatre. But I think the most important thing is to get new audiences.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Keep it flowing through.
Yeah.
Um, hey, um, obviously you've traveled all around the world. You've seen operas everywhere. What is it about the South Australian opera, that stands out for you? How do
I'm
we rate against the rest of the world?
I'm really proud of what this company is doing now and what this company has done. It has always really punched above its weight. And in my humble opinion, state opera is right at the vanguard of where opera should be in the 21st century, not just in Australia, but also internationally. The scale and the ambition of our collaborations, the quality of our casting. I mean, we get absolutely exceptional casts, including great South Australians, both who are resident in South Australia or who have gone away and are absolutely kicking goals on the world stage. State Opera did the first two ring cycles of these big epic Wagner ring cycles in the Southern Hemisphere, did the first Philip Glass trilogy. It's commissioned some really important new works because, of course, it's a living art form. And I love Bohème, I love Carmen, I love all these operas. But we also want to tell stories from today of people who are living in our own time and creating new work. So we're not just curators of a museum, but we are constantly rejuvenating and reinventing the art form. And I think state opera has always been at the vanguard of that. I mean, you look at season 25, we have Flight by Jonathan Dove, which the only time it's ever been seen before in Australia was at the 2004 Adelaide Festival. And this was a totally new production from our friends at Opera Holland Park in London and Scottish Opera. And then you've got our Magic Flute, first collaboration between Chinese opera companies and Australian opera companies. And then you have this Romeo and Juliet, which is a significant collaboration between State Opera, between West Australian Opera and Irish National Opera. And this production is going to be built, created, premiered in South Australia. So we're going to create this work. We're going to show them what we can do in South Australia, and it's going to go to Perth, and then it's going to go to Ireland, and who knows where it's going to go after that. But it is really essential work, and I'm very proud of where we are positioned internationally.
You're dead right. I mean, I think, our South Australian talent is exceptional. We've got some incredible voices. But the State Opera is very much known for, amazing costumery. Obviously the musicianship is exceptional. But another thing that really stands out with the State Opera production is the sets as well. So I cannot even wait to see the set for Romeo and Juliet. That balcony scene I'm hanging for.
It's a very cool production where we are almost ready to go to build now. But I've seen the sketches, I've seen the designs, and it is, has some echoes of the Baz Luhrmann Romeo and Juliet, but it's taking it in a totally new direction. And we have it's an absolutely stonking cast. Siobhan Stagg is one of Australia's most in-demand sopranos. She sings at all the top opera houses in Berlin, in New York, in London, Paris. And she's coming back to make her role debut as Juliet. Her family now lives in South Australia, so it's a real family affair. And Kyle Stegel, who is he lives in Adelaide, an amazing tenor. He's going to be singing the title role of Romeo. So between those two and the rest of the cast that we have, I mean, it's just going to be awesome.
So what's coming first, Romeo and Juliet or Mozart? Oh, sorry.
Mozart.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Magic.
Magic Flutes. It opens in very late August and runs into September,
Yep.
and then we're going to see Romeo and Juliet. Either don't quote me on this. It's the end of October into November. I think it spans the cusp between October and November as well.
Hey, I just thought of another thing that State Opera is very much famous for now as well, which was a really cute, really innovative idea, which was opera in the pub that occurred at the end of last year. A great idea. Hopefully that comes back as well, because that was good. That was good fun.
It was a great partnership between State Opera and the Duxton group of pubs, and we're still talking about how to expand it, how to bring it back. I think it's great because you go and have a pint and you experience really up. There's something visceral to experience the power of a great singer
And
really up
expose
close.
other people to, the genre as well that wouldn't
Hmm.
go and see that. The typical pub goers were exposed to another arts of entertainment vibe, amazing. I love it. It was genius. Hey, speaking about audiences, what do you think of the Adelaide audiences in Adelaide? What makes the Adelaide audiences special?
I think the Adelaide audiences are really spoilt for choice in terms of what they have. They're very discerning. They've got the festival, they've got the Adelaide Symphony, they've got State Theatre, they've got State Opera, of course, plus the Fringe. So they are very open. They want to see new things, and they also know what they like. So, if you get the seal of approval and if you get a standing ovation from an Adelaide audience, you have really done a good job. And I love looking around when I'm performing or when I'm not performing, when I'm just in the house and just to gauging people's reactions because people really know what they're talking about. And I respect that immensely. And the fact that we have had this loyal following for so many decades, it's our 50th anniversary in 2026. So
Yeah.
that really speaks to the esteem with which the Adelaide audience holds us. And we hold the audience with equal esteem and respect and admiration.
There was a phrase that I heard when I was growing up that if you can make it in Adelaide, you can make it anywhere. Because you
Yeah.
have to work bloody hard when you're in Adelaide, right? Hey, obviously your wife is a singer. Do you sing as well?
I sing. Actually, my wife has a very funny story because um, she has a theory that there's a way of a conductor way of singing. So sometimes it's faster if you're in a rehearsal to sing something to an orchestra how you want it. But she was listening to a Zoom call I was having to an older colleague once when I was getting his opinion on various things, and Bohem, I think it was. And she said it sounded like and then I went, no, it just should be more like da 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 da. And and so I would say conductors sing after a fashion, but I wouldn't expose anyone to my singing in public.
I like it. Hey, I gotta ask you this one because I mean I'm a massive music fan and I like every genre. There's pretty much nothing that I won't listen to, apart from maybe death metal. But apart from that, I will listen to everything. When you're away from the whole classical world, what do you enjoy listening to?
It's interesting, isn't it? I don't listen to a whole lot of music when I'm not working because it's my whole life and I'm always around music. I don't even really listen to classical music. But now we've got Frankie, our almost 2 year old. I do try to expose him to a wide range of styles. So we listen to classical, we listen to opera, we listen to jazz. I've really gotten into Hawaiian music, actually. There's a really rich musical culture here. And being music director here in Hawaii, we also perform with some absolute legends of the Hawaiian recording industry. So I do love slack key guitar, and I do love to watch hula and listen to the Hawaiian vocals. So that is something new that I've been getting into.
I like that. What a beautiful culture, definitely. Hey, last question for you. Um, Obviously 2025 is sorted now, and I'm keen beans. I'm excited. I will definitely be there. Have you already started? I mean, you said there's a major birthday coming up. Have you already started thinking about the program for 2026?
Oh, big time! It's almost ready to be locked away. It's
Yeah.
almost ready to be locked away. And I can't say much, but it is going to be an absolute bonanza year. I think more opera than we've seen in South Australia for a long time. In fact, I might even go so far as to say there may be more opera in South Australia than any other city in the country
I'm excited.
in 2026, our birthday year, including a new production, including some beloved older productions, including old favorite singers and new singers that have never been heard in the state. It's going to be really special.
Dane Lam, you are definitely bringing the magic. You are absolutely bringing the magic flute and Romeo and Juliet for the rest of 2025. I'm excited. I cannot wait to see you back in Adelaide really soon for more state opera of South Australia. Thank you so much, Dane.
Thanks, Marcus. Can't wait to see you again.